Boker Tov, good morning. We are in chapter 14, the story of Shimshon, and we started to see how we started to have a connection with the Plishtim. We started with a woman in Timnah, a place near the house of Shimshon, not far away from where he lived. And I want to return to one verse that may be understood in two ways, that according to these two ways, we can understand all the story of Shimshon in two ways, generally speaking. So in verse number 4, chapter 14, verse number 4, it says, so the story was that he saw her. It doesn't say, the Torah doesn't say that he spoke with her, that he dated her for 3 years, nothing. He just saw her and he told his parents, I want to marry this girl. And the reaction of the parents, like any good parent, a Jewish parents, is, why are you going to marry a shikse? Right? Don't you have women from our tribe, from our nation? Why do you need to go to non-Jewish girls? And you say, no, that's what I want. It doesn't give more than that. And then the verse says, his father and mother did not realize that his request was from God, who was seeking a pretext against the Plishtim. Now, in the translation to English, it's quite clear that the one who is seeking pretext for against the Plishtim is God, right? It says that his request was from God, God was seeking a pretext against the Plishtim. But in Hebrew, it's not very clear. It says, "Ve'avi ve'imo lo yadu ki me'Hashem hi." In his father and mother didn't know that he's from Hashem, כי טענה הוא מבקש מפלישתים, because he seek or looking for a pretext. Who is he here? It can be understood for God, but it can also be understood about Shimshon himself. That Shimshon wanted to marry her because Shimshon wanted to start fighting with the Plishtim, not because Hashem wanted him. And this give all the story other way of understanding, meaning that Shimshon, at least in this point of the story, wasn't just, the question is, we are going to see that one thing lead to another, all the story. That happened, so Shimshon react in this way. And then the Plishtim react, and then Shimshon react. It looks like something like by accident. If you're looking without taking out God from the picture, everything like lead to the next step, but it's not looks like something here is planned. It's just happening to Shimshon. But if we say that Toana hu mevakesh miplishtim, he Shimshon is looking for a way, a pretext to fight with the Plishtim, so we can understand that everything was planned by Shimshon. Shimshon started to look reasons why to fight with the Plishtim. Now, I want to repeat on a point that I said last time, that is very important to understand all the story. And it's the end of this verse. Verse number 4 says, ובעת ההיא פלישתים מושלים בישראל. For the Plishtim were ruling over Israel at this time. So the Plishtim were ruling at Israel, and many times what happened when Israel is under a foreigner, strange government, that if someone does something bad, they're not accusing him, they're accusing all the Jews, right? Dreyfus story style, or something like that, right? So we are looking here, we say that from one side, Hashem didn't want, like the former Shoftim, to make a general salvation. Like the Shofet is totally redeem Am Israel, deliver Am Israel from the Plishtim, and all the story is over. Hashem didn't want that. It's going to take several generations until Am Israel finally get rid of the Plishtim. In that point, Hashem doesn't want to really save Am Israel. He wants to do that in phases, in stages. And we saw that it says, והוא החל להושיע את ישראל. He started deliver Israel. It didn't finish. Why? We say it's two reasons. Or because the Plishtim were really strong. Not strong that Hashem cannot, but it's not like appropriate to do that in a way that from one day to another, Am Israel changed totally to rule the Plishtim, or they didn't deserve it. We saw that not unlike other cases in Sefer Shoftim, it doesn't say that Am Israel is praying for Hashem, that Am Israel making tshuva. It doesn't say any of that. It just say Plishtim ruled Israel, and that's it. They didn't cry to Hashem and nothing. So maybe they weren't deserved for salvation. Be it this way or another, Hashem didn't want a straight war between Israel and the Plishtim. So what is the way that we should engage in some kind of a conflict? So this, in a way that from one side it looks personal, but it's not personal. It's a personal fight between Shimshon and one family in Timnah, or friends from Timnah. It doesn't look like a general fight between Am Yisrael and Plishtim. So all this story about getting married with women from the Plishtim is a pretext to be able to fight with them without involving the rest of Am Yisrael. It's personal. It's me and the wife. It's me and the family and the friends of the family. Right? It's not Am Yisrael against Plishtim. But we will see that it always Am Yisrael against Plishtim. Right? It's only the pretext. The pretext to start fighting, and then it became general. And we'll see how Shimshon make it personal but national. It's two aspects always. Anyway, again, returning to this verse, so we want a personal fight, which will be also national fight, but we want that to be like clear. And so we are looking for a pretext. The question is, who is looking for the pretext? Explain us what is the level of Shimshon. Shimshon is not just impulsive guy that always is how do you say that? Not looking for fight, like the fight comes to him without he's looking for it. It's like just in the situation, or is the one who is looking for that. In a way, it's look personal, but it's really national. So the second explanation put him in a better light, right? He's not just an impulsive guy that is in the situation by accident, right? No, he is planning it in a clever way that he can take revenge of the Plishtim, show Am Yisrael, we can fight against them, we can win them, in a way that other people won't get harmed, right? Am Yisrael won't get harmed from that, because no, it's personal, it's only me and the family, right? Okay, anyway, we continue in verse 5, and it says, so Shimshon and his father and mother went down to Timnah. We said went down, went up, or that it was in the middle of the way, or that it's the beginning of his decline. So Shimshon and his father and mother went down to Timnah when he came to the vineyard of Timnah for the first time. A full-grown lion came roaring at him. Full-grown, it's not very clear that full-grown meaning adult lion, right? The word in Hebrew is kfir. So according to the Mefarshim, there are three levels, three different words in Hebrew for lions. We have gur, Aryeh Yehuda. Gur is cub when he's small, cub. We have kfir when he's in the middle, and we have adult. So you know, lions has time in their life when they are go lonely. The young male go lonely without how do you say when you have a lot of lions together? Pride, yeah. So there is a pride. Usually there is a dominant male, some female, and the cubs. And then the cubs that grow up, they cannot challenge the lions, so they go around. So in this time, they are kfir. This is the word kfir. Why? That explains why just a realistic story, why he's alone. So this lion is alone, and Shimshon see him. He doesn't say that it was, how to say, Leonis, the female. Sometimes the female go to hunt alone, but it's not a female, it's a male. Anyway, he's there alone, roaring at him. So it's quite a frightened situation, but the Spirit of God gripped him. So it's the first time it says this term of Kislach alav ruach Hashem. Before it says ruach Hashem echela mefa'amto. So it starts be with him, the Spirit of God. Here the Spirit of God gripped him. What is gripped? Like inspired him, gave him power. So it's not a prophecy. We explained, so according to Rambam, when you have a spatial power, sometimes can come from Hashem, it's called Ruach Hashem. It's like kind of inspiration, in this case, physical inspiration. So, and he tore him asunder with his bare hands, as one may tear a kid asunder. So the shasea is to take it to two parts. So it says like he does to a kid. Is it easy to do that to a kid? No, it's in your hand to cut an animal, even a kitty. It won't be so easy. right? But he did it to a lion, like people, maybe other strong people do to a kid. But he did not tell his father and mother what he had done. What is the meaning of this story? We're going to see later. That's going to be the reason for the first fight with the Plishtim. So then he went down and spoke to the woman, and she pleased Shimshon. So we said before that he liked her. What's happened now? He spoke with her and he still liked her. That's a miracle. No. But what I'm trying to say, again, the two ways to understand. He only saw her, even spoke with her. So he is a person that only care about what he see. This is the negative way to explain. Or he didn't care about her. It just was an excuse. He even spoke with her, even he didn't spoke with her. After he spoke with her, he said, yes, it's going to be a good excuse to fight with them. Okay, anyway, he spoke with her for the first time, and then he went back home because it wasn't marriage yet. It's only the first speaking with the parents. Then returning the following year, it says miyamim. Miyamim mean after days. So sometimes yamim in the Tanakh is a year. So this is a translation go according to that, but it can be some time. Doesn't say exactly. The Talmud does say that it was a difference of a year between the engagement and the marriage. So it also makes sense. It's a year when everybody go home, prepare, and then they get married. So he came back to the wedding. So returning the following year to marry her, he turned aside to look at the remains of the lion. And in the lion's skeleton, he found a swarm of bees and honey. So this is honey that is the honey of bees, not honey of dates like we usually say. Why he wasn't with his parents again? He went to see what's happened to the lion. And it's all the story was in vineyard. What is the problem with that? A vineyard wine grape is Nazir, he's not drinking wine. So maybe he left his parents to go around the vineyard. But here it says that he left them to see the lion. So we understand that he wanted to see what's going on with that. And again, it's again the problematic issue. You are Nazir, you shouldn't be near a vineyard. Why are you going there? Or you don't care so much. So it's not, again, we can understand in two ways, or that he went around because he didn't want to go to the vineyard, or he went to the vineyard, which is bad for Nazir. Okay, and this is also the situation here is quite not clear. What the Torah does want to tell us about that? What is the story here about the lion and the honey and the bee? So he scooped it into his palms and ate it as he went along. When he rejoined his father and mother, he gave them some and they ate it. But he did not tell them that he had scooped the honey out of lion's skeleton. Okay, we'll see about that later. Then, so his father came down to the woman, and Shimshon made a feast there, as young men used to do. So apparently, again, the father went first. Apparently it was the customs of marriage. Makes the formal offer, and then he came and he got married with her, and they did the feast for 7 days, the way the young men used to do. So apparently today also we have Sheva Brachot. It used to be a 7 days feast, but he doesn't have friends because the wedding is between two nations, Romeo and Juliet, right? It's two nations. So when the people of Timnah saw him, they designated 30 companions to be with him. So they are making him friends. He didn't know anybody, he doesn't have friends, so they sent 3 friends. Are they really his friends? Not so much. So then Shimshon said to them, let me propound a riddle to you. If you can give me the right answer during the 7 days of the feast, I shall give you 30 linen tunics and 30 sets of clothing. But if you are not able to tell it to me, you must give me 30 linen tunics and 30 sets of clothing. And they say to him, ask your riddle and we will listen. So why asking them a riddle? Maybe that was, again, common. Maybe people go to feast. So what we're going to speak about 7 days, right? So they're going to riddles, like games and bet about things. So here it's a bet, right? You give me clothes, I will give you clothes. And apparently it's expensive, not like today, the clothes were expensive. There is an explanation in Dat Mikra, the modern explanation of, you know, this set of Dat Mikra? It's a set of some kind of modern explanation, traditional, I mean, but modern. So they explained there, I didn't see in other Farshim. They said he was offended from them. They should have asked him. It was used. You are with friends, so tell us how you came here, what's happened in your way. They didn't care about him. They weren't really his friends. And they asked, they would have told, I met a lion, I killed the lion, it became a honey, bees, right? They didn't ask, they didn't care about him, they just making bullying on him or something like that. So he was offended and he decided to do a riddle. Or, again, he wanted to fight with them. So he made a riddle which was impossible to answer. We're going to see the riddle. That's not a fair riddle, right? So he said to them. So he said to them, out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. So what is a riddle? What is that? Of course, what's happened to him? The lion became honey. From the eater, something to eat came, which is a honey. With the strong, which is a lion, came something sweet, with the honey. Okay, so what would it be? So they did not know, of course. For 3 days, they could not answer the riddle. We say it was 7 days. So what about the 3 days? Then on the 7th day, so it's 3 days or 7 days. So all the wedding was 7 days, but the chida, the riddle, was only in the 4th day. And that's the reason, that was enforced. You say here to explain the difference of the days, but many times 3 and 7 are symbolic numbers in Judaism that I don't understand the symbolism here. But so in the 7th day, they were already desperate for that. On the 7th day, they said to Shimshon's wife, coax your husband to provide us with the answer to the riddle. Else, we shall put you and your father's household to the fire, which is a proportional reaction for not knowing to answer a riddle. Right? No, so they were very aggressive and violent people. So have you invited us here in order to impoverish us? For 30 clothes, are you going to be impoverished? Apparently, yes. I think we talked about it once. In the old days, to make a cloth, it was really, really, really expensive. I don't know if it's like buying a house, but it's like buying a car, I would say. Because everything was made by hands. I read once that investigations they did about the time, it said that it took about 100 hours of work to make one cloth. So we understand, for example, in the Talmud, they are speaking about what's happened if something find a cloak of this size, 3 etzbaot, something like that. Should he return? I mean, in what case should he return? So we understand, we can see that they recycled, they used everything. It was, the cloth was bad, so they used it for something else until it was totally wasted, right? So it was very expensive. It wasn't like a riddle of $50, right? It was a real big, of course, for him it was more, there were 30, so for him it was to paint 30. But for them, it was for each one, and it's still, they look on it and like they're going to, how you did that in order to impoverish us. So then Shimshon's wife asked him with tears, and she said, you really hate me, and you don't love me. You ask me people a riddle, and you didn't tell me the answer. So he replied, I haven't even told my father and mother. Shall I tell you? What do you think? Something you don't tell to your parents, you tell to your wife. Yes, one should be closer to his wife than to his parents. The fact that he answered like that, again, may allude that he didn't see her as a wife. He just see her as an excuse. Maybe, it's a speculation. So during the rest of the 7 days of the feast, she continued to harass him with her tears. Again, the numbers doesn't fit very well. It was in the 7th day, and she did that 7th day. Or that there was another 7 days, doesn't make sense because it says it's about in the days of the feast. Or what's happened that in the beginning he spoke about that, and she was bothering him without knowing already that it's going to be a reader, that it's going to fight with them. She was bothering him because she was bothering him. She wanted to do, she was curious. But after that, it really becomes serious because they threatened her of burning her house and everything. So during the last several days of the feast, she continued to harass him with her tears. And on the seventh day, he told her, because she nagged him so. And she explained the riddle to her people. So on the seventh days before the sunset, before in the last moment, right? Before the sunset, time is getting over. So the townspeople say to him, "What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion?" So they find the answer. The impossible riddle, they found the answer. So the sweet is a honey, and the strong is a lion. He responded, "Had you not plowed with my heifer, you would not have guessed my riddle." What does it mean? You keep picking in riddle. Who is the heifer? His wife. Haven't you plowed, meaning you weren't threatening her or speaking with her, you wouldn't find? And then, so you own them 30 cars, let's say, 30 clothes, very expensive. He doesn't have money for that. So what he's doing, the rational solution. So the Spirit of God gripped him, again, the Spirit of God. He didn't do that for himself. He was inspired for God. He went down to Ashkelon and killed 30 of its men. Why he killed 30 of the men? They didn't do anything bad to him. They are innocent people. Like you are bombing Gaza, innocent people. Why? Because it's not personal, it's national. Okay, again, we see how the national and the personal is getting involved. He's taking revenge of the Plishtim because some guys cheated him, right? So we understand that, again, it was excused to fight with the Plishtim without involving Am Yisrael, because still you can say, no, it was his personal, he fight with them, he needed money. They cannot accuse Am Yisrael in general. So he stripped them and gave the sets of clothing to those who had answered the riddle, and he left in a rage for his father's house. Now, here again, the order of the question, of the sentence is still, it's a little bit strange. When he was in a rage, before killing the Plishtim or after killing the Plishtim? After killing the Plishtim and give the cloth, what are you in rage of? So maybe it should have been, no, in the end, it say, no, all the story was in rage. Since he understood that his wife told the answer, he was angry with her. He didn't stay with her. He went home. He left her and he left home. They already separated over 1 week. I think it's a record. After 1 week, he's going home and left her. Or he wasn't really in a rage. It was a game. I would have said he was in a rage. He went, he killed Plishtim and gave them the clothes. No, he killed them because he wanted to do that from the beginning. That was the whole story. He played that the one he doesn't want to answer, and then he gave her the answer, and then he understood that and he plays a game and say, no, I'm angry now, I'm going to kill Plishtim. He kills the Plishtim and gave the clothes, and he went in a rage, right? It's not really in a rage. This is, again, another way to read that. Anyway, Shimshon's wife then got married to one of those who had been his wedding companions. But they didn't formally divorce. He's still married to her. So this wasn't, we see that in the next chapter, well, we're going to see it next week, but it was only the beginning of the story. So we can say one thing lead to another. He saw the lions, he killed the lions, it became honey, he thought about the riddle, he tells them the riddle, they threatened the wife, everything, one thing lead to another, nothing was planned, or that everything was planned from the beginning. I just finished with one point that is interesting also. The honey and the lion. What is the story of that? So he said, from something strong or bad comes something sweet. We can say that also about the honey of bees. Honey of bees and milk are two exceptional, or better to say, bee more than honey. We said Eretz Zavat Chalav Udvash, the land that gives milk and honey. And usually, again, honey is honey of dates. But the Gemara says that there's something special about honey of bees and milk, that there are two things that, even though it comes from a non-kosher thing, because the cow needed to be slaughtered in order to be able to eat them. So it's come from unkosher, but it's become kosher. The Gemara said over there that it's a theory that I don't think that it's correct, that the milk that comes from the mother it was blood and it became milk. So it was something non-kosher like blood and it's become milk. No, not about the non-slaughter, it's about that. The blood of the cow become milk, and then it's a non-kosher become kosher. Also a honey of bee is the only thing that is kosher that comes from not kosher.
Or the shellac from the lock beetle. they have shellac on
Yeah.
food, and it comes, it's the shell of the beetle, and it's supposed to be kosher also.
No, it's if it's the shell of the beetle that it stayed in the thing, we can say it's cancelled. Not, but it's not kosher. You cannot eat it like that. So the bee, the honey of the bee, it's come through its body, right? She's eating, or it is eating whatever they eat, and they put inside her body and go out, and then it's used after that to feed all the bees, right? But it's the only thing that is comes through an unkosher animal, and it's kosher, right? And maybe this is symbolically Eretz Israel, the land of Israel. She is purified everyone that goes to the land of Israel. So we can say that all this also, it's alluding to all the life of Shimshon. From something non-kosher, get married with a non-Jew, fighting, I don't know, all the things that you're going to see, it came from non-kosher, but it became kosher. He got married with her, it's from not kosher, but it's with order, in order to start this fight with the Plishtim to save Am Israel. So it's also maybe something symbolic in the story of the honey and the lion. Okay, יישר כוח. Any question? No?
And thank you, Joe and Phil, for the breakfast.
Welcome.
It's good to be back.